What's up, guys? It's Victoria from Under Victoria's Spell, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite book tropes. I love seeing what everyone else is into, and I know we have this whole I'm in my certain era, so I wanted to talk about some of my favorite bookish tropes and some of my favorite eras that I feel like I'm currently in. So let's hop right into it. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my 5 favorite bookish tropes, and I'm going to talk about the 2 current bookish eras that I'm in. So first and foremost, my favorite book trope is the overprotective hero. I really love whenever our hero is just so gung-ho for our heroine and just wants to protect her at all costs. I just think it's so romantic, and it can be done in such a beautiful way. It doesn't have to be like super crazy over the top, but just simple things as, you know, like, you're mine, I want to protect you. Certain phrases like that just make me swoon whenever I'm reading a romance book. So that is my first favorite trope, and I'm going to talk about a book recommendation that made me just fall in love with that bookish trope even more. Okay, I have 2 recommendations because both of them, they were so wholesome. And that is Jasperville by Devney Perry. It's one of my favorites in the Eden series. But if you have read this book, you know Jasper is super, very quiet-natured, except when it comes to his woman, because he is very much like, touch her? No. And very much like, she's my wife, she's mine, you're not going to disrespect her, you're not going to talk crap about her, and he even takes a bullet for her in this book. So I hope that's not a spoiler, but I was just like, oh, I love an overprotective hero. And the other one is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This also, our hero's name is Jasper, must be in the Jasper blood, but I loved how he was so protective because he knew her story growing up. He knew who she was and the heart that she has, and you see it from the very beginning, before they're even together, just the protective force that is going through him to protect her. And he even helps her escape her wedding. How is that for an overprotective hero, making sure she does not marry the wrong guy? So those are 2 book recommendations that with some overprotective heroes that I absolutely love. My second favorite bookish trope that is very similar to an overprotective hero is the touch her and you'll die trope. I'm just like, we have our bad boys, even our good boys, who are like, you touch my girl and you're gonna die. And I'm like, toxic, but we love it, okay? And there's just something about a man just wanting to go that far to put his point across, that if you step across this line, you are done for. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And the book recommendation that made me just fall in love with the Touch Her and You'll Die is the Broken Bond series by J. Bree. She has 5 bonds, or mates if you're more familiar with that, and literally they will all kill the enemy to protect the love of their life. And I'm like, I love that. And you know, they even do that in the book, and I'm just like, I mean, I really do. That's so toxic, but it's so good. I highly suggest this series if you love a mixture of good boys, bad boys, fantasy, toxicness. It's my kind of toxic. And my next favorite trope is such a different contrast. I love a cinnamon roll hero. At the same time, it depends on the certain mood that I'm in, but I really do love just such a good, wholesome, just good man who wants to do the right thing no matter the decisions or the consequences that will come up. I just think that that's so respectable, and it just shows how much he cares for the people in his life. And the book recommendation that made me actually fall in love with cinnamon roll heroes was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. You have Pike Lawson, who is our cinnamon roll hero. This is an age gap, but I felt like he handled his situation that he was in this book so well, and he wanted to do the right thing even though his heart was breaking, and I thought it was so good. I really enjoyed getting to see his inner battle of doing the right thing, being so kind-hearted, but also going after something that he really wanted. So I really enjoyed this one. Pike Lawson is the reason that I have fallen in love with the cinnamon roll hero trope. My next favorite trope is going to be forced proximity. There's so many books with forced proximity, but I love the forced proximity where they're either like stranded somewhere due to like a weather circumstance, a vehicle circumstance, or just anything that's going to make them have to be in the same room. That could be an elevator, a hotel room, an office. I just love the forced proximity. The tension and the angst just goes like boom, boom, boom. And I love it so much. And one book, I know I've already talked about it, but I really think that Powerless by Elsie Silver did forced proximity so well, because they went on a road trip together and they kind of get stuck in a couple situations. And I just thought the angst was top notch. So good. Because anytime where, even if it's not romantic, if you're in a room with someone you dislike, the angst, or not the angst, but the tension is already there. So when you put a couple who has some flames going and put them together, it is fantastic. So I love forced proximity. I think that if any author adds that to their book, it's automatically going to get 1 star on my 5-star list, because it just has to be written so well. The sexual tension between some characters that I've read is so great. So forced proximity is the next one. And my last favorite bookish trope is going to be age gap. Age gap is like my guilty pleasure, okay? I've read so many age gaps and they're so good. Like Praise by Sarah Kate is an age gap. Highest Bidder by Sarah Kate is an age gap. What else do I have on my list that is an age gap? Oh, Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas is also an age gap. And I just love it. There's just something about the forbiddenness that just makes me, like, draws me in, and I cannot stop reading it. So age gap is my candy. I know my friend Erica from Erica Reads Books, she is not an age gap girly, and that is completely fine, but I will take all the recommendations for age gap, because I love an older man and a younger woman. And even Mercy, and I'm talking about Sarah Kate a lot, but Mercy was the reverse age gap. I thought it was so well done. So age gap is just great because there's that inner battle of like the maturity versus who the hero or the heroine does not think is mature, or whatever the public eye is going to think. And I just love it. Like, that adds a certain level of tension, and I'm just consumed. I love age gap. But my number one recommendation for age gap is going to be Praise by Sarah Kate, because that was the first book when I started getting into romance. Again, that was age gap, and I just devoured it. It was delicious. So good. Okay, and now we're gonna talk about the 2 eras that I'm in. And the first one I'm just gonna show you, and it's gonna be a dead giveaway, but this is my current reading era that I'm in. I am in the small town romance era, and I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with small town romances. And I honestly didn't think I ever would be, because I grew up in a small town, and when I first started reading, I really enjoyed college romance, like new adult, and I loved billionaire romances, which I do still love. But now I'm obsessed with small town romances. The 3 authors that I have been obsessed with is Elsie Silver, Devony Perry, and Catherine Cowles. those are the 3 authors I have just been devouring their books. They are so good. It's just so cozy to me, and I love it. And there's something about small town that hits all of my favorite tropes as well. Like, you have your forced proximity, you have sometimes an age gap, you have an overprotective hero, you have the touch her and you'll die type of vibe, and I just love it. It hits all my tropes, and especially if it's a romantic suspense, which Devaney Perry and Catherine Cowles do a really great job of. So I am just in my small town era. I want to just gobble them all up and just live in these happy small towns where everybody knows everybody, and it's just so good. Like, I want to go to Chestnut Springs, I want to go to the Edens in Montana, and I want to go to Catherine Cowles' small little towns. I'm in her 2nd series right now that she's written, and I'm really enjoying it. But I am definitely in my small town romance era, and I am not mad about it. And the last era that I'm in is going to be a little bit different than what I've been talking about, but I'm in my audiobook era. I have been so picky in the past about audiobooks. I like to read things on my Kindle or physically, but over the last 6 months, I have really developed a love for audiobooks because it makes it so convenient when I'm cleaning or laying down for bed or driving to work. It's just so convenient for me. So I've been really loving audiobooks, discovering narrators that I like. So like, I notice their voice whenever a book starts, and I am just obsessed with audiobooks. I currently do have Audible. I use Scribd and Hoopla for my audiobooks as well. So I've been really trying to test the waters on what works for me. And I'm also going to be doing a thriller reading video. I don't know if I'll vlog it, but I am going to listen to all those books on audio because I want to kind of mess around with the books that work for me in audio. And I'm also currently listening to Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin on audio, and it is a historical pirate romance. And I will say I am struggling just because I am newer to audiobooks in a sense, but I'm really enjoying it. It's challenging me to kind of like focus and get into the stories, and I love a challenge. So I'm definitely in my audiobook era. And I'm not mad about it. And that's all that I have for today, guys. Thank you for listening to my favorite bookish tropes and my eras that I'm currently in. I would absolutely love to know your top 5 favorite bookish tropes, and if you're in any eras, I would absolutely love to know. Also, let me know what you're currently reading if you're reading an audiobook. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.